Everyone seems to be enamored with the water-wise, low-maintenance succulents as indoor houseplants, but it's their opposite, the air plant, that offers a dramatic detail all its own. Melinda Meservy introduces us to the possibilities. Thanks for coming on, Melinda. Tell us what an air plant is.
Okay, so an air plant is, it's a living thing. It doesn't need soil, it does need water.
Oh, so this is news to me.
They do, so right, so they do require water. They come in a lot of different variations, as you can see, from these little filifolias, which actually means little strings, to the xerographica, which is it's basically like the queen of air plants, and they get all of their nutrients through the trichomes that are on their leaves. If they have root systems at all, the root systems are just to hold themselves up and get air and light and moisture.
So tell me, back me up one moment and tell me, what is a trichome?
A trichome is that little fuzzy thing.
Okay.
So this is a caput medusae, and if you hold it, you can feel that fuzz. So that's the thing that actually absorbs, it's just like a teeny little feather kind of thing that will absorb moisture.
Okay, and you've done some decorative treatments here, which I love, especially because when you think of plants, usually they're potted or in a garden or something else. So finding a way to use this when it isn't necessarily attached to anything is different. I love the look of these. Tell me about what you've done and how people are displaying these.
Okay, so I've brought a couple of examples of ways they can be displayed, depending on your own sort of style. So if you like something that's minimal, you might want to go with something like a root ball from it's basically an orb, and it smells like fur, and just set things on it. Or if you are into upcycling or recycling, you might find an antique such as this little copper pot and just set one of the air plants in it. There's a whole lot of different ways of doing it. One of the things that I thought we might do is, I can show you, if you have a little terrarium, you can take some rocks and maybe choose one of the plants that you like best, and if you put the rocks, just basically all they need is just, they just need a little bit of, there you go. Even it out. Yeah, and then choose what air plant speaks to you.
I'm kind of drawn to this. I love this kind of light, and it's so interesting because they feel quite dry. They have kind of a dry touch to them, but they're so beautiful and still so green. So just set this in here.
So you can be, very, it can be very simple, but they have so much structure themselves, and they do bring a lot of sculptural type beauty, just
absolutely,
in
and a lot of
their own
movement. They all have kind of this movement to them that's very beautiful.
A good point. There's a bit of a myth that they don't need water. They do, and what you basically would do is just water them once a week by taking them.
Because this is not a traditional kind of watering. I mean, we're used to getting a little pitcher and dripping water into a pot. So how do show us how you do water these.
So you can mist it. You can see I'm shaking. You can mist it. But because we're in such a dry climate, the best thing to do for air plants in Salt Lake City is to usually soak them once a week.
Okay.
And you just do that by.
Is there anything special in here? Okay.
Just water.
A bucket of water.
A bucket of water, and if it's filtered, that's ideal. They don't love chlorine, but and you just take it and you sort of slowly put it in the water, and you can see that it's changed in its
in its color a little bit. It's darkened up a little, and do you let it soak, or is this kind of a dip it in, drag it out? What is that?
I typically would let it soak for 20 to 30 minutes, and then you can, when you take it out, whatever the type, you sort of shake it. You can, if they're seeming a little bit dry, you can always put them, you can always dunk them or run them underwater or mist them in between, but they do need a good soak, usually once a week or so. They can go dormant.
And how much light do they need? Or do they need a lot of light? Does it matter where you put them in your home?
They like bright filtered light.
Oh, they do like light. Okay.
They do. It doesn't. They can actually get like little spots on them if they get too much light or if it's direct sunlight. So if it's filtered and it's bright and they get a little bit of airflow, that's ideal. And that's one of the reasons why most of the displays that I have are showing them in a situation where they can be easily removed, set in the water, and then returned.
Now tell us, you have an event coming up at your garden boutique. Tell us about that.
Oh, we do? Okay, thanks for asking. We are going to be having the Sod Show, which is a garden podcast, hence the t-shirt, coming from Ireland, and they will be here during the week of St. Patrick's Day. And that's basically Peter Donegan, who is a very charismatic, energetic, and fun person. But we'll have workshops throughout that week as well from people really all over the world. He's coming from Ireland. I've got a professor coming from Nebraska. The woman who wrote this book and knows everything there is to know about air plants will be here. It's going to be a big thing.
Thank you, Melinda. And
Thanks so
you
much.
have a darling shop close to Liberty Park. People can find Melinda on Facebook. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.